All right, take two. Welcome to another episode of Mr. K is Wrong, where I look at the Facebook posts of somebody known as Mr. K and I debunk them. And Mr. K is somebody that I used to know when I was younger, and unfortunately, he is a right winger. And in this episode, I'm going to debunk a right wing meme, and I'm going to especially make note of the numerous times that Trump attacked Hillary and other Democrats as warmongers who would take the US into war with Iran. And the meme in question features the famous meme of the little girl smirking as a house burns, and it says, 1979 Iranian Embassy, 1982 Lebanon, 1988 U.S. Samuel B. Roberts, 1996 Khobar Towers, 2000 USS Cole, 2023 Israel. Then the text reads, "Have you met my Uncle Donald?" It's so embarrassing. This is me talking right now. It's not in the meme. That's just so embarrassing, right? Like saying, "Have you met my Uncle Donald?" It's just so stupid. But anyway, then below the little girl, a similar image replaces the girl with a smirking Trump, and it says 2026 Iran. We didn't forget. Ugh, it's just the stuff they come up with, man. And of course, I'm going to state the obvious here. The meme is pretending that Iran's behavior to the United States has been worse than the US behavior to Iran, which is, of course, ridiculous. And I'm going to explain why. And, the meme is trying to do two things at once. It's painting a long list of violent events involving Iran as a single continuous story of revenge. It tries to frame Donald Trump as the strong uncle, really embarrassing, who's finally going to settle the score in 2026. So it's emotionally effective for people who don't understand history and don't care about facts, but it's also deeply misleading for that reason. And it really highlights one of the prominent features of right wing politics that happens over and over and over again. They attack people, right? They bully people, they victimize them, then act as if the people being bullied and victimized are the bigger bullies and the bigger victimizers. That's a constant pattern when it comes to right wing ideology. You know, there's a term for it, and it's the cry bully. And that's exactly what we can see happening here. So let's look at why the list in the meme is actually inaccurate and deceptive. Let's look closely at the events that it lists. So when it comes to the 1979 Iranian embassy, this refers to the hostage crisis in Tehran, an attack on US diplomats by Iranian students. So there was also 1982 in Lebanon, which likely alludes to violent attacks on U.S. forces by Iranian backed actors during the Lebanese Civil War. Then there's the 1988 U.S. Samuel B. Roberts, which was a U.S. Navy ship damaged by an Iranian mine. 1996 Khobar Towers involved a bombing by Saudi Hezbollah, with U.S. officials later or which U.S. officials later said had ties to Iran's Revolutionary Guard. There's the 2000 USS Cole, which was an Al Qaeda attack in Yemen, not an Iranian attack, and wrongly grouped here. So, are you getting a clear picture that these incidents aren't actually necessarily related? Like, are you getting that picture already? Then there's 2023 Israel, which refers to Hamas attacking Israel. Iran does support Hamas politically, but Iran did not directly carry out that attack. And of course, it's not like Israel was always just a passive bystander this whole time, and like Israel's never attacked, Gaza or the Palestinians or anything like that. Of course, Israel has taken hostages well before 2023. There was, you know, plenty of Israeli activity against Palestinians before 2023. So all of that, all of that stuff about Israel, it's trying to be largely ahistorical, treating October 2023 as if it was just a convenient cutoff point, and anything that came before that just doesn't matter. Of course, there were attacks by Israel where they killed, a number of Palestinians or others, uh, in a number that was, in the thousands range. So, it's convenient to look at just one like atrocity or set of atrocities and say, oh, that was the historical cutoff point. But when it comes to a lot of situations, there's quite often something that came before. And when it comes to Israel now, we know that they are in fact having an extermination campaign in Gaza. There's no doubt about that now. They've got a deliberate policy of starvation. They have bombed every school, every hospital. They've deliberately rendered it so it's no longer even a sustainable society. All of their cultural institutions have pretty much been wiped out, etc., etc. And they've admitted that there's a campaign of deliberate starvation, and they're attacking aid workers and journalists and all sorts of stuff in Israel. So, to claim that Iran is like the sole bad actor here is just ridiculous and disgusting. So the same meme collapses very different events by different actors with different levels of Iranian involvement into a single revenge narrative, and that's actually dishonest. The meme omits key context like US military actions, The meme also lies by omission by leaving out major episodes where the United States attacked Iran or Iranian interests directly, events that complicate the idea that only Iran has been the aggressor. So in the 1980s, during the Iran-Iraq War, the United States seized Iranian oil platforms and attacked Iranian naval vessels in operations like Operation Nimble Archer and Operation Praying Mantis. Boy, they come up with some names for these things, don't they? And these were US military actions against Iran itself. So maybe this little meme should actually make a little bit of a mention of that sort of thing. But no, it's already, too complicated for a lot of people to understand it. You have to just leave this stuff out of it. If it might kind of make the US look a little bit bad. And in 1988, a U.S. Navy ship mistakenly, or at least they say, mistakenly shot down an Iranian civilian airliner, Iran Air Flight 655, killing all 290 aboard. So, whoopsies, whoopsies, this meme might have mentioned that, a civilian airliner. If another country bombed one of our civilian airliners, you might think it would have been, a cause for alarm, and it's a major point of contention in U.S. Iran relations. People still remember that. And in 2025, the U.S. carried out airstrikes on Iranian nuclear sites, striking directly inside Iranian territory. So, the meme might want to mention something like that as well. And going further back, U.S. involvement in overthrowing Iran's democratically elected government in 1953 played a foundational role in the hostility between the two nations, something this meme completely ignores. And gee, I wonder why. If a country, overthrew our democratically elected government, you would think there would be a little bit of hostility between us and whichever country had done that. But you can just completely ignore that. Who cares? It's just how the cookie crumbles. Oh well. And if you wanted a true historical list of confrontations between the US and Iran, these episodes need to be included. The meme selective list actively misrepresents history by omitting them. All right, let's look at what might be the more fun part of the episode. What about Trump's own rhetoric regarding Iran? The meme points or paints Trump now as the inevitable avenger and I guess the perverted uncle, who's like gonna save the world, the avenging perverted uncle. But that wasn't always his message. During his 2016 campaign, Trump repeatedly attacked Hillary Clinton and other Democrats as reckless warmonger types who would drag the US into war. He said Clinton could start World War III. He warned she would get the US into another war in the Middle East. He branded himself as the candidate who would avoid stupid wars and opposed regime change policies. He framed himself as the anti-establishment candidate who would not repeat prior Middle East wars. Yet the meme flips that on its head, celebrating the idea of Trump finally entering a full-on war with Iran in 2026. So that's not consistency, it's a narrative shift, and it's convenient for those who do not want to criticize the orange clown. War is far from a punchline. It's a joke to some people if they're sadistic and crazy, but a lot of people, they recognize war as the destructive thing that it is, and there's actually a little bit of danger. It actually kind of creates a dangerous situation for practically everybody. But there are some apocalyptic interests at work. Some I've done an episode on this on these religious extremists like Mike Huckabee who believe that this war is necessary in order for Jesus to come back on a winged horse. And here's a few more important realities too. War with Iran is not a clean, quick revenge. Iran is a large, populous, and militarily capable regional power with missiles, proxy forces, and the ability to disrupt critical shipping lanes and other things. It's going to likely involve many more casualties, not just strategic strikes or symbolic victories. And none of the listed events, whether embassy hostage crises or naval skirmishes, were inevitable or simple linear provocations. They happened in some complex geopolitical contexts involving multiple actors and rationales. And in that meme, they're just being used to justify what is currently going on. That they're completely devoid of context. There's no more information in the meme. A person could just look at that and they they might nod their head and say, "Yeah, we gotta get back at them for these things that they did." But it's like I explained just a little bit ago, the issues are a little bit more complex because the United States has been meddling in Iran's government for a long time now, and it's again, they're trying to reverse roles. We are the bigger bullies, and we have been since like the 1950s, but they're trying to flip reality on its head and make it seem like Iran is actually the bigger bully to the United States. So this meme doesn't treat war as a last resort with serious consequences. It turns history into meme format for emotional impact, and again, kind of significantly flips reality on its head. So, if the goal is serious discussion about foreign policy, history, and the actual effects of war, this meme utterly fails. It selectively lists events, conflates unrelated attacks, omits significant U.S. actions, and rewrites Trump's own past rhetoric to fit a partisan fantasy. So, yeah, it's an important argument, um, to have, and this meme is not conducive to that. So Actually, if you want to look into these issues, obviously you should do a little bit more than look at a crappy meme from Facebook posted by a right wing doofus.